96 Beltline, and I know we have a few. Yeah, we have a few commissioners that are tied up in that, so they will be a little bit late on that. But we're going to get going, and our first item on our agenda is public comment.
How you doing, everybody? I'm D. Jones, passionate entrepreneur and visionary. Who am I going to speak on first? First of all, I want to say I'm thankful to be alive. Some people that didn't get up today, and I'm just excited to be able to put King County on. I'm a pioneer. I'm a visionary. I've been able to do a lot of cool things. Yesterday, I was actually asked to help host the state championships for esports. This would be the first time I actually ever do that, but to actually be able to work on the highest level of gaming for our state is going to be pretty cool and innovative, especially me living in one of the worst cities for economic development. So I'll definitely be able to use that experience to be able to definitely build my confidence, which I feel like I got a lot of confidence already. But I'll really be able to use that to be able to come back to our school district and be able to help these kids get guided to being able to eventually be a state champion day one day, hopefully. Um, and I'm excited about my partnership with GRPS, being able to earn a $10,000 partnership with the city, with the Safe Pitch Task Force to reduce violence and being able to do innovative things. But to know that the $10,000 that I got is going to be enhanced and the school district is going to invest funding into the esports activations, actually developing an academy, opening up the esports lab, the basketball courts, the film and video room that they actually have, in the music studio. On Saturday, I will be in Detroit because I actually co-produced a production that's sponsored by the pop company Fago. And we actually sold out our first viewing, and we're looking to sell out the second one. So I've already having success in the film and video space and already have a production out in Detroit, and knowing the cultural impact of Detroit. If I walked around with my authentic Cartiers, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would stare at me. So I'm really excited to be able to really go out there to Detroit, put on for the city, put on for the state, and then come back and eventually do the state championships. Actually, 2 days before I actually work on the state championships, I'm going to be doing a live TV interview at Channel 8 News. So I'll be there in person actually doing a TV interview about these esports activations in my $10,000 partnership and the production and the esports energy drink and the app that we have. So it's a lot of things, but I'm very excited to be able to put on, to be able to give back, to put King County on, to put our city on, our state, and really be an innovative pioneer and leader, because I know that these things are going to grow. I also was just looking at an article and seeing that the energy drink space is actually a $74 billion space. So I'm going to have to get some of that market cap. I ain't gonna lie, I definitely need it, and I feel like it's enough space for everybody. I'm not too worried about the aggressive global competition, because I feel like if I ethically go about it, I think I'll be able to get some of that and be able to ethically get people out of poverty, because that's the true goal of all of this. Thank you.
Thank you, D. Jones. And you can add local TV commercial celebrity on your resume. I think we're all watching TV during the election. Say, hey, we know that guy. There's D. Jones. So thank you, D. Jones, for being involved in our community. Is there anyone else that'd like to be heard at the public comment section? If not, I will close that part of our meeting. Do I have approval of last meeting's minutes? I need approval. Motion by Packla, supported by LeGrand. Any comments, questions? Not all those in favor, please say yes. Yes. All those opposed? Last meeting's minutes have been approved. So we do have a few items on our agenda. That'll be more presentations today. I know, Jeff, you're really good at this. So again, if we can kind of keep our time to 10 minutes or less, and some board questions after that, that would be appreciated. Jeff, fiscal services report.
Good morning. I'll try to channel my inner Burl and keep this short, right? So
Love it.
thanks for having us today, or having me today. My deputy Marvin is here as well. So we'll go through our fiscal services performance measure review. You will note the format is very similar to what you're used to. Alignment with board priorities, goals, metrics, accomplishments, and look ahead. So our mission is to provide an efficient, cost-effective financial management system that facilitates sound financial planning and reporting while safeguarding the county's assets. and to provide support services to county departments, which is really our primary mission. We provide support across the county in many, many areas. So indirectly, we support all of the board's priorities through that partnership with our other departments. So here's our org chart. You can see we're made up of 4 divisions. The accounting division includes payroll, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and fixed assets. We have our budget division that focuses on capital and operating budgets, budget amendments, and monitoring compliance with budgets. We have purchasing, which also includes fleet services under it, and the fire commission, and then also our risk management division, which covers property and casualty insurance, liability insurance, cyber renewal, workers' comp, and workplace safety. Overall, we have 33 employees in fiscal services. So some of our strategic goals, one of them is to provide accurate and timely vendor payments, 99% processed on time without error. You can see we're above our target. 23 numbers look a little low because it was a 9-month fiscal year, just a reminder there, but we processed 99.96 on time without errors. We continue to stress ACH payment processing. It's more secure and cheaper for the county. And then we continue to implement processes to avoid fraud, which vendor payments can be a significant area for fraud. So we continually watch out for things to improve our processes there. If you look at the next slide, it's provide efficient and accurate payroll services. 99.9% were issued last year without errors. You can see we processed 52,180 payroll checks totaling over $137 million. So there's a lot that goes on with payroll. Most of those are through EFT. We've also implemented a lot of items to prevent fraud in this area with double verification for direct deposit and bank changes. We continue to receive training on AI and how they can manipulate people or appear to be other people to make payroll changes. So we watch that very carefully to help minimize any losses there. Budget amendments is another one of our goals. Our goal is to provide, or 99% of them processed in 2 days without errors. You can see we did 100% of those in that time frame. 742 total amendments, which is up from, again, the 9-month fiscal year. That seems like a lot, but these are all mostly interdepartmental. So a new account addition to their budget could be part of this. If we transfer money between cost centers, new grants creates a budget amendment. We obviously use these to control spending. And sometimes when you do a budget amendment, it impacts several sub-funds as well. So some of those can count. One of them could count for 3 or 4 budget amendments in the total. Our next strategic goal is to encourage participation in county purchasing. We try to get an average of 5 responses per solicitation. Sorry, I got to catch up. Last year we did 154 solicitations, and our average was 6 responses per solicitation, which is good. It's above our goal. We do this through lots of things. We have easy registration for our vendors. A lot of times we'll do seminars and outreach, and we'll sign them up on the spot. So we make it very simple to do business with the county. We do automated bid notifications based upon the queues that the businesses signs up for. And KCCA provides a lot of opportunity for local participation. Vehicle maintenance is our next strategic goal. 95% of our vehicles are on a preventative maintenance schedule. That's our goal, and we hit that goal in 2024. Obviously, our new facility is allowing for more work on larger vehicles and more complex repairs like transmission, things like that. So that's worked out very well for us. They've also implemented service and parts tracking software to help us optimize the right time to dispose of assets to get minimize repair and expenses and maximize the resale value. So, the last metric here we're going to talk about today is to reduce lost work days due to workers' comp incidences. You can see we had 1,289 lost work days in 2024 with 151 claims. You'll notice a giant spike in 21. That was primarily COVID related. We had significant leaves with COVID. So it's good to see that going back down. We use a third-party vendor to evaluate all of our workers' comp claims, so it's independent and fair and just through all the cases. Some of our significant accomplishments, again, we look for a clean, unmodified audit opinion. which we received as of September 30, 2023. And then we also apply for the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting, which we received for the 23rd consecutive year. This is the highest award that can be received for your financial report. Other significant accomplishments, of course, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the AAA bond rating, which we work with the treasurers and the administrative office. This is our 26th consecutive year that we've received the AAA bond rating from Moody's and Standard & Poor's. We're only one of 3 counties in Michigan, out of total 83 counties with the AAA in Michigan, and 1 out of 106 in the U.S., and there's 3,143 counties in the U.S. So we're pretty good company there with our AAA bond rating. This will be used for some upcoming projects. The airport has a refinancing coming up early next year. We'll do the D-TANs again with the treasurer's office, and of course our Fuller Complex project is coming up soon. Another significant accomplishment was our Advantage ERP 4.0 upgrade. It was all kind of done behind the scenes with our internal departments. While that may not seem like a significant accomplishment, it was done really on time and in budget, which is kind of unusual. What's nice about the 4.0 is future enhancements won't require a full upgrade. It'll be done through containers, so future upgrades should be included in our annual maintenance cost. And that was a strong collaboration between HR and IT. Additionally, this is our second full year of our 9/30 year-end change. So now we'll be going forward, be able to compare year to year to date over previous years. Will be a better comparison. So, looking ahead, again, we're going to look for a clean, unmodified audit opinion. We're currently in the works of closing our books from 9/30. The auditors are scheduled on site in early January. We'll apply for the Financial Reporting Award again, maintain our AAA bond rating agency, and continue to build out the KCIA is a big goal. We're going to look to build the reserves. This will help us be able to make our own insurance decisions. We'll save money on premiums and invest in risk-reducing investments across the county. So that is what I had. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, commissioners. Commissioner Bujak. Yes, please.
Thank you, Chair. Jeff, the calmness with which you deliver that speaks to the assuredness of the information that you're giving us. And I'm always amazed when I look at these reports at, that number 99.8. Maybe that's not good enough. Maybe you should strive for like 100%
We'll look to move
on
that to
everything.
100
Yeah,
next
like
year.
find those 0.02% or whatever it is, and then. But no, seriously, the AAA bond rating and the great job that you're doing, we really appreciate it. Being a part of a county that is solvent and in great financial position makes it really easy for the commissioners to do our work, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We have a great team.
Commissioner Baker.
Yeah, I'm just happy to note that after 2 years on the commission, I have not challenged our AAA bond rating. So I'm glad.
I appreciate that.
All right, any other commissioners' comments or questions? All right, I guess I'll just ask one, and that is when we're talking our worker comp claims or our lost days, obviously, like you said, COVID, 2,500 jobs down below 1,000 in 22, and then we've had a steady increase. Is there, what are those typical days? What departments? I mean, is that, I guess, where do you see those happening, and our reason maybe for our rise in that, or are there some things that we can do to be a little bit more proactive on, I guess, some of these accidents or claims or slips and falls or whatever they are?
Yeah, so the most significant portion is from our sheriff office, corrections. There's a lot of incidences at the jail, so that's by far our largest workers' comp department. Some in parks a little bit. And we continue to look for ways to reduce comp claims. We did add an additional person to that department last year, so we have some more support. So we're going to look to do some more safety training, building safety awareness, things like that in the future starting next year. So
Right. I know folks always roll their eyes when staff has to get trained on those type of items, but
Yep.
it is
they're very important.
it is very important. I agree. When it's coming to worker comp claims, that is also part of, we will self-insure that, worker comp, just like our other insurance pools, or how does that work?
Workers' comp cannot be included in our insurance pool by state law.
Okay,
So
all
that
right,
remains separate.
all right, so we're paying our
Third-party vendor, yeah.
third-party vendor on that.
And typically, an employee will supplement their wages with their workers' comp piece with bank time off, so they're typically will receive 100% of pay.
Okay,
So.
all right, wonderful. If there's no other questions, we will
Thank you.
move on to our next item. Thank you, Jeff, appreciate it. So our next item on our agenda is the Parks Department, performance measurement review. Ben? You're in a leaf cleaning up mode, I'm sure, at most of the parks around the county. Looks like you have until this weekend to accomplish all of that, so weather's coming. Thank you, Pat. Or
Perfect.
Ben.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to come up and talk to you a little bit about how our 2023 was and what our 2024 looks like. So real quick, a snapshot of our department. The Kent County Parks Department maintains 43 acres of parks and green space, 43 parks and green space, which is 7,794 acres. We have 28 full-time employees, over 200 seasonal employees, and we maintain over 109 miles of regional parks and trails. We're funded primarily through the general fund. We have a $7.5 million operating budget. We also compete with the other departments for capital improvement funds and typically get about $1 to $1.5 million in capital funds. We do have several earned revenue sources as well that helps fund our department. That includes Kaufman Golf Course, Wabasis Campground, the Millennium Park Beach, and shelter and park rentals throughout our parks. So just a presentation overview. We'll talk a little bit about our alignment with the board priorities, our own department strategic goals and key performance measures, some significant accomplishments from this past year, and then a look ahead. But wanted to start with our mission statement. So the Kent County Parks mission statement is that the Kent County Parks Department enhances the quality of life in Kent County by providing outstanding parks and trails adhering to the highest standards of recreation. The department efficiently achieves this vision by developing vibrant partnerships, sustainable funding, and accessible parks and trails that amplify and meet the needs of future generations. So first, to talk a little bit with alignment with the board priorities that come out of the county board strategic plan. The easiest one is high quality of life. So one of the goals for the county is to develop and enhance park and trail facilities to improve access for recreation and leisure opportunities. Another goal for the county board under economic prosperity is to position the county for multi-generational economic and population growth. Parks and recreations and trails have been a key part of economic prosperity and economic development over the past decade. And that is proved by this past year. We were able to get a grant through the Right Place and the MEDC for a project that we did in Plainfield Township at Dwight Liddell Park. So those organizations are recognizing the importance of parks and recreation in making place in economic development, and we're a partnership in that as well. And then excellence in service delivery. So to create an organizational culture that emphasizes excellence in customer service. So I think we are one of the few departments in the county that interacts with the public all the time on a regular basis. We don't have exact visit numbers for our parks, but with 43 parks spread throughout the county, we're interacting with the residents on a regular basis. So we strive every day to make sure that those customers are having a high quality interaction with us. Because for some Kent County residents, the interaction with the Parks Department is the only interaction they'll have with the county the entire year. So to talk a little bit about our strategic goals. So the first one is to acquire parklands, green spaces, and trail corridors to address the current and future needs of the community. And we did acquire 3 properties in 2023. So the first one was the Townsend Park Edition. So Townsend Park is one of our oldest parks. It's located in Cannon Township. we were able to get a DNR grant in partnership with Cannon Township to expand that park by 106.5 acres. We also added 6.8 acres to the Two Rivers Green Space in Caledonia Township. That was a key acquisition there. It's a property that was at the confluence of the Coldwater and Thornapple Rivers. And then the 12-mile conservation area, which is a green space located in Algoma and Algoma Township in Rockford, we were able to add 27.3 acres to that property. Came to 140 acres. We were really proud of that. One of the things that we have pivoted on in the past couple years is for the long time we had this strive of just add acres, add acres, add acres. And we've gone back on that a little bit. So now we are looking to strategically add property where we are having unmet needs in the community, or if it adds to a specific park in the area. So no longer are we just trying to grab at a number like we need to add 200 acres this year. Need to add 200 acres this year. We're stepping back and making sure that we do that strategically. With that, we do have several properties in the pipeline that meet our strategic goals that we're hoping to acquire soon. Second goal is to develop and enhance park and trail facilities to improve the diversity and quality of recreation opportunities. So we have our Parks, Trail, and Natural Areas Master Plan that guides us over 5-year periods on how to develop out the park system. And in that is a series of about 100 action items that we have that we focus on throughout the year. So we were able to accomplish 8 from the plan, including that adding to the 12-mile conservation area, replacing various play structures, and some work that we did at Wabasas Lake Park. And we were also able to complete our 2024 to 2028 master plan. Next one is to protect the quality and sustainability of the Kent County Park System by continuing to increase and diversify funding sources. Again, we talked about the earned revenue sources that we have. We're really proud that in 2023, we were actually able to increase our ratio by 56.19%, which means that 56.19% of our operating expenditures came through our earned revenue. The caveat to that is what Jeff was talking about, was that it was a 9-month budget. So things like Wabasas and Campground and the golf course, we were able to basically recognize the entire calendar year of revenue without having 3 months of expenses when those areas are closed. So I have a feeling that's going to get back closer down to that 40% level when the full budget comes around. But we're excited about that. We also work hard to secure funding sources from outside entities. We were able to secure $2.9 million in 2023, which included an MDNR trust fund grant, funding partnerships from Cannon and Caledonia Township, and a contribution from the CDBG program through Kent Community Action. We're really proud of our volunteer services program. So in 2023, we had 9,959 volunteer hours. There is a dollar amount that you can put towards that, which means we recognized over $316,000 in volunteer labor for 2023. We collaborated with 138 different outside agencies and organizations to accomplish that, which equaled 2,580 individual volunteers. One of the big projects they work on is invasive species removal. We had 55 invasive species projects that totaled 36.7 acres in our parks. Another one is to efficiently provide a quality 18-hole golf course for the general public. Again, we try to make sure that there are no general fund tax dollars going into this entity, and successfully did that again this past year. Again, our ratios are a little up because of the way the budget worked out, but again, $1.36 ratio, so brought in $1.36 for every dollar of expenditures for the golf course. The crown jewel of the Kent County Park System is Millennium Park. One of our strategic goals is to efficiently provide a range of enjoyable recreation opportunities at Millennium Park that are easily accessible to the general public. Again, great season at Millennium Park, only the second time in its history that we had over 100,000 attendees there. So we're really proud of that, especially considering that it was generally a mild summer, so not a lot of heat and there was a lot of rain. And the ratio there for this year was 64 cents. So for every dollar of expenditures, there was 64 cents of revenue. Millennium Park was never intended to be an entire cost recovery model for the operation of that park. It's too big. There's too many natural areas that don't generate revenue, but we're really proud that we are able to bring in that revenue to help support that park. And then we have the Wabassis Campground. So the Wabassis Campground offers several high-quality camping experiences, including full hookup, partial hookup, and rustic camping, rustic and modern cabins, and a lakefront cottage. Again, our typical days are Memorial Day to Labor Day. However, that's the high season. We are open all the way to October. One of our most popular weekends is holiday weekend out at the campground. Really proud of the staff out there. They've done that, and the Halloween camping was booked out this year. So, again, good ratio, $1.66 for every dollar spent there. And again, the ratio buoyed a little bit about by the 9-month budget year. A couple other significant accomplishments this year. We've been talking the past couple years about Balk Family Park. That park was open to the public, so people are able to go out there and use it right now. Right now, it's basically just a gravel parking lot and a series of natural surface trails. We are hard at work with the Kent County Parks Foundation, the Balk family in Cannon Township to raise money for the future development of that park, which will include a whole host of amenities, including restrooms, playground, shelters, trails, and disc golf course. And then we're able to open the North Wallfield parking lot. So North Wallfield Park is an amazing park in Alpine Township. Up until 2023, really the only activated part of that park was the southeast corner. And in partnership with Kent Community Action, we were able to open the north parking lot. We were able to reroute the mountain bike trails there. Really excited, a proud project we'll have in 2025 and 2026 that'll enhance that park, adding a 10-acre enclosed dog park, as well as restroom facilities and some other options. So talk about a look ahead. You've heard me talk a whole lot about the Grand River Greenway. We're really excited about this project. Close to $40 million already raised for it. You can see there the map, the sections that we're working on. I'm happy to report that all of the funding has been raised for the project, essentially from where the White Pine Trail intersects Rogue River in Plainfield Township, all the way into Chief Hazy Cloud in the city of Ada. All of those sections of project, there's 5 different projects going on there. They're all under engineering right now. Several of them will start construction in April. And the last thing, looking ahead, I want to talk about a project that I'm really excited about, and I have some guests here if there's any questions about it, but looking at our Blandford on the Go project. So one of the things that I was tasked with when I came here is I think I'm actually technically the first Kent County Parks and Recreation Director. So that position's typically been a Parks Director. And I was tasked with figuring out what does the and recreation part mean. And the and recreation part doesn't mean that we're going to hire people to come in and run soccer programs and do arts and crafts. Really what it means is we're going to find the partners in the community that are experts in that field and find a way to partner with them to provide that experience in Kent County parks. So when we had our master plan done in 2024, one of the questions we asked is what type of recreation programs and activities would you and your members of your household be most interested in participate? And out of 8, 5 of them relate back to things that Blandford does the best in Kent County. And fortunately enough, the county and Blandford already talked about what that partnership might look like. So it was really easy for us to figure out what that looks like going forward. So I was fortunate to meet up with the staff there and Steve. Steve did an excellent job going out into private philanthropic community and raising funds for a potential program as well. We have 3 primary donors that brought over $150,000 to the table for that for the program, including Julie Deisterhoff and Randy Damstra, the Janner Doer Foundation, and the Peter Cook Foundation. And this past fall, we were able to do our pre-pilot. So next year is going to be our pilot program, but in fall of 2024, we did a pre-pilot, basically to work out all the details. We had programs at 4 parks: Johnson Park, Caledonia, Lakeside, Townsend Park, and Fallsburg Park. All parks and townships that typically don't run recreation programs. So I want to be very clear that we're not trying to compete with any other organizations in Kent County that run high-quality nature-based programs. And we're not trying to compete with the programs that are at Blandford as well, right? So People that go to Blandford to participate in their program, we want them to continue to go there. But the programs we offered included beginning birding, nature crafts, textures and patterns in the park, nature story time, sensing nature, binocular bonanza, clue in nature, I spy outside, music in the park, nature collage. I'm happy to report that the reporting back that we did on that pre-pilot program was overwhelmingly positive. People were really excited about it. We did pass out the 2-page report from that end next year, but really excited to partner with Blandford to figure out what that full program looks like in 2024. When I'm back in front of you this time next year, we'll spend a lot of time talking, not a lot of time because I only get 10 minutes, but spend some time talking about how successful that program was. And with that, happy to answer any questions you have. And again, I have the team from Blandford to answer any questions you might have about that program as well.
Thank you, Ben. Commissioner LeGrand.
Thank you, Chair. So congratulations on being our first Director of Parks and Recreation. I guess that makes you our Ron Swanson. Is that
I like
right?
that.
So just the Bulk Family Park, is that the one that had been a golf course at one point?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So it was a Silver Lake Golf Course up in Cannon Township. We were fortunate to have James and Shirley Bulk that live really close to it. It was actually approved for a housing development, and they stepped in and made sure that it continued to be 125 acres of open space for that community. So not only did they pony up all of the money to purchase and open that park, but now they're helping us raise the funds to develop the park as well.
That's great. And will it remain open while it develops? Because it's open now, you said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's open now. So we were able to partner with the Kent County Road Commission to punch in so part of the issue was there was a lot of times we get these properties and we're able to just open them, right? So with this particular property, there was actually no public access. So it was fenced on 3 corners. There were some big grade issues. The only parking was off of private drives. So we partnered with the Road Commission to punch in a drive and a gravel parking lot off of Cannon after Belding Road. So people have access to it now. You can get in there. You can hike around. It's a beautiful piece of property. It's amazing how fast a golf course will go feral. Walking out there, I don't think you'd ever guess it was a golf course, but for some remaining tee box infrastructure, it's really an amazing piece of property.
There was a detail on that slide about a bridge to help connections, the safety of connections. That's not a bridge over? Sorry.
Talking about this one?
No, but
Nope.
I thought it was the bulk one.
Oops.
A bridge for the trail system.
Yeah, so there's
Where-
so we need to punch in a main entry drive to the park, right? Again, part of the issue is that you come off of Belding Road and there's a huge grade issue. So our long-term plan is to actually have, the Cannon trail system runs through there, to have the trail that would run through the entire frontage of that property. And that trail would actually go under the entryway in, so there'd be a grade
I see.
separation.
I
Grade
see.
separation.
Okay, thanks. Then my last question was that beautiful map you had of the Grand River Greenway project. That is one thing that when I was knocking doors that people just really loved. And I would love to have a copy of that. Is that something you could share with us commissioners? I mean, maybe we have it somewhere, but
Yep, definitely.
but I
I'll
would
get it
really
out
love to have it on hand saved and.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd
Yeah.
love for you guys to talk about it.
Mhm.
Really trying to generate some excitement. So the fundraising efforts for that project right now are really focusing on those high level donors, trying to bring donations in 7 figures at a time. But the Parks Foundation is already talking about how do we do there's a lot of people that want to participate in that project that are going to buy, benches or artwork or, donations that come in $100 at a time that are super important to generating excitement for a project like this. So they're trying to figure out how that public launch of the fundraising happens as well.
Yeah, I'd love to share that. So that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Chair.
All right. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Pacala.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ben, thanks for this presentation. Really enjoy all the work you're doing. Can you talk a little bit more about the partnerships with Cannon and Caledonia that bring in revenue and what those projects look like?
Yeah, yep. So they are really out of all of the communities, they probably had the longest history of partnering with us. They really both those communities treat us as their parks department. So a lot of times, if they have something that's meeting the needs of their community, they'll come to us and figure out how to partner. So Caledonia Township, we've probably done that close to half dozen times, where we've identified a property either for a new park or in addition to a park that makes sense. There's a great program through the DNR that is not, the application isn't capped, so the amount of dollars are capped, but the application isn't capped. So if you need $2 million to purchase a piece of property, you can apply for that $2 million. But you get certain points for certain things, right? And one of them is how much cash you're bringing to the table. So we'll sit down with Caledonia Township, we'll sit down with Cannon Township, we'll identify a project that meets both of our needs, and then we figure out, okay, where does that match come from? For Caledonia Township, there's been projects where they've provided all of the match. With Cannon Township, they provide a good portion of it. So those are really important. One of the things that I'm hoping to do is to continue to talk to the supervisors and the officials in those communities to make sure that if there's needs that meet both their needs and the county's needs, that we are collaborating on those projects.
That's great. And then one final comment. I just wanted to say, really excited about the Blandford partnership. I've worked with Blandford for years, and they are fantastic, and excited about this opportunity.
Great, glad to hear it.
Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Burrow. A 2-page report. I've never really seen these. Most reports I get, I use to hold the door open on a windy day. So appreciate it, precise and to the point. So I wanted to talk about the trails. 106 miles of trails. I know in the city I live in, the Kent Trails is probably the most used. Building stuff is easy, maintaining them can be difficult. There's still a partnership where the city and the county split that half and half to maintain and keep it upgraded, correct?
Correct. Yep. It's actually a multi-partner. So Kent Trails runs through Byron Center, City of Wyoming, City of Granville, and then obviously county property as well. So there's a written agreement where everybody puts money in, not only for the operations of that trail, but for the future capital improvements as well. I will say that unfortunately that agreement was drafted back in the late 1990s, early 2000s. And because of the construction inflation that we've had over the past 3 or 4 years, we're not accumulating money fast enough when that trail actually needs to be rebuilt to have money in there. So we're starting to have conversations with those communities about what the future iteration of that trail looks like. We are fortunate that it has, we are fortunate. Fortunately, we have maintained it very well, so there's no areas where there's glaring needs, but we want to make sure when those needs do come up, that the money is available to address them.
Okay, so then the next step then, are the rest of the trails that are built in the county also partnerships with the governmental units that the trail runs through, or is that county responsibility?
So if you're looking at the 4 regional trails, so Kent Trails is covered, the Paul Henry Thornapple Trail is covered. There's actually sections that one's a little different because there's sections that City of Kentwood maintains and operates, sections that Kent County maintains and operates, sections that Caledonia maintains and operates. The other 2, which would be the the Pioneer Trail that's in the city of Walker and goes out to Ottawa County, and the M6 Trail are solely Kent County trails.
Okay, and then the White Pine is considered a state trail?
Correct.
So do we get money in from that? Do we match them or?
So we don't have anything to do with the White Pine Trail. So
But we connect to it though,
yeah.
correct?
Yeah, we do
All
connect to it.
Thank you.
And that is actually a good segue to talk about the Grand River Greenway and what happens after it's built, right? Because when we are putting in close to $60 million into this trail. City of Grand Rapids is putting in, probably exactly the same. How do we make sure that that's maintained in perpetuity as well? So DGRI has actually organized a operations and maintenance group. The group hired a consultant that does this work all over the country, but we're doing exactly that, right? So when the final ribbon is cut and that trail is open, how do we make sure in 20 years from now that we're providing the residents the same experience they had in day one that it's open. So really happy to partner with DGRI and glad we're thinking about that on the front end rather than on the back end.
Commissioner Bouchak.
Thank you, Chair Burrow. Ben, I appreciate your enthusiasm and your leadership at the parks. It's an exciting, very exciting Kent County park system. I've got a whole bunch of positive comments for you and at least one question. I'd like to start with Blandford. I think the partnership with Blandford is just an amazing, adventure. I had the opportunity of working at Blandford Nature Center with GE volunteers many, many times. So I've been out to the Blandford Nature Center, know that park very well and their mission. So kudos to the Kent County for partnering with such a great organization. And thank you guys for being here. The picture of the bridge that goes, is that across the Grand River?
Correct.
Yep, that is so beautiful. It looks like a mini pedestrian Mackinac Bridge. It's just a beautiful structure. Also, I just came off of rotator cuff surgery, and I've got the green light to start golfing after the first of the year. So I'm looking forward to getting out to Kaufman Park and actually helping you with the revenues for generating and keeping that park going there. So looking forward to golfing. And Wabassis. Wabassis is such an interesting place. And in the information that you shared, you talked about how the rentals book like as soon as they become available. So my question to you is, when does that rental period become available? When do they become available? In case I want to adventure out there and rent the place.
Yeah, so if you're looking for just a campsite, it's a 6-month rolling. So every week starting that week, we book out for 6 months out. If you're looking for one of our cabins or the Lakefront Cottage, we do in December. There's basically it opens up, and then you have to call that day to book in.
In December, that's pretty general, is it?
So I don't know the exact date.
I'm looking for insider.
Jeanette will throttle me if I give you the wrong date. So
Yeah.
let me double check on that, and I'll get that information for you.
And then I'm setting a goal for myself for 2025. I want to actually visit every single Kent County park and witness every park myself. So to see it on paper is one thing, but to actually go there and walk the nature trails and get a better idea of what that park is like. That's the boots on the ground is the best way to do it. I know I had the opportunity to walk the trails at the Two Rivers in Caledonia, and I was amazed at what I found on the east side of Whitneyville. Typically, I think of that park as being, the confluence area, but there's some trails that go off onto the Coldwater River. Just amazing. So I plan on working on cardiovascular health. And I think walking through the parks is a great idea and a great way to do that. So my goal is to visit all the parks and keep up the great work.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Diaz.
Thank you, Chair. Ben, thank you for being here. Maybe a week and a half ago, I saw a post on Facebook of somebody that was driving by a parking lot, I think, at Michigan State. And the parking lot was covered by a bunch of solar panels. And so I was curious during this presentation if there have been discussions or if there's any thoughts around how we can connect our parks and our trails and whatnot and connect them with energy production or solar power or anything like that. I drive by, I think it's Johnson Park, all the time, and there was a lot of updates done there, and I was just thinking, putting those two things together, would that be a possibility?
I think anything's a possibility. So, and I've seen that parking lot at Michigan State as well. I think that's super innovative. To be honest, we probably have not had that conversation internally about if that's something to look at, but we have several development projects that will be coming up in the next couple of years at Wallfield Park and, a couple trailheads that are going in. So as we start to talk about what those projects look like, that'll certainly be something that we can consider and figure out if that works into that plan.
Cool. Thank you. Well, this will be my last LHR meeting, and so I just wanted to say it was a pleasure working with you for the last 2 years. I'm looking forward to coming back as a resident and continuing those conversations during public comment. And I agree with my colleague, Commissioner Bujak. One of the goals that I have is to get healthier next year. And the studies have shown that if you're out experiencing the sensation of awe, which I think is very easy to experience when you're out in the nature, there's a lot of benefits to that. And so I'll be around, and thank you for all the work.
Great, I appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you in the parks.
All right. Commissioner Hennessy, I was just kind of waiting to see if you would or wouldn't.
You slid over it very quickly, but boy, my ear caught it. I'm talking about the 10-acre closed dog park at Wallfield Park. This will be our first attempt to do a dog park. I mean, we all have dogs.
Yeah. So we're really excited about this. Again, you do the master plan and you get three things that come up constantly. People want pickleball courts, they want splash pads, and they want dog parks. And for us, the one of those three that fits best into our mission is creating a dog park. So this harkens back. The county commission started putting some money away for this project. I think back as far as 2019 or 2020. Combination, a couple of different CIP accounts and ARPA funding, we're able to step up and do the dog park. So our plan is to start construction on it in 2025 and to have it open in 2026. I'm actually working on a rather large donation from a local community member as well. I really hope to be back in front of the Board of Commissioners in December or early January to talk about that. But it's going to be an amazing entity for Kent County. I was fortunate enough when I was in Cascade Township to open the small 2-acre dog park there. By far the most popular entity in any of the Cascade Township parks. You talk to Ottawa County and the Grand Ravines Dog Park that they've done out there, just constantly attended. So I think it'll be something that we all can be really proud of, whether you have dogs or not. All of your animals will be invited to the grand opening, and we're really excited about it.
I appreciate it.
Right.
The other thing is, Millennium Park, which since COVID has just been used 7 days a week, year round. And I appreciate that we now have a year-round bathroom there.
Yeah.
And just keeping the parking lots themselves open because it overflows, particularly on the weekends.
Yeah.
So, and I am glad that there's a way for the mothers to travel with their children now and to be able to get to the restrooms but the parking itself sometimes is difficult.
Yeah, yep. We're really excited about that. We did have several discussions last year, especially, so last year was an odd winter because it didn't snow a lot. So there were weekends in February where it was 40, 45 degrees and making sure that, we're just not closing the lots, that typically aren't used in the winter and then not opening them to April. So we will have strategic openings of those extra parking lots when the weather calls for it as well. But the winter lots will be paved. The winter restroom, we're really excited about that. That's a project that happened all through last year. Unfortunately, because of some delays, it wasn't finished until April. So and then it's opened back up anyway. So this winter will be our first winter having the 4-season restroom in Millennium Park. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 other restrooms under design right now. They're all 4-season restrooms, unless there's a specific reason why it's not necessary. All the restrooms that we build or renovate going into the future will all be 4-season restrooms as our residents are starting to demand those winter activations of our parks.
Thank you.
Okay, you just need some of those restrooms on the Kent Trail, so when you're jogging, you have somewhere to go. Commissioner Teal.
Thank you, Chair Burrow. For a while there, we heard a lot about Cannonsburg and potential acquisition. I just was wondering if there was any update on that. I've had a couple of constituents ask me.
Yeah, so I don't have any update other than there is a group in the philanthropic community that's coming together. In fact, myself and Al and a couple of our staff members got an invitation to have that first meeting in January. So there's definitely there's some interest on the the county aspect. There's some interest in the philanthropic community. The owner of Cannonsburg is still very engaged with us to look like what that partnership looks like. We just don't know what it looks like going forward right now. So we hope to have those conversations the first half of next year and design a plan going forward. But I don't know what that's going to look like.
Any other commissioners' comments or questions? All right, seeing none, Ben, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a great Thanksgiving. All right, next item on our agenda from our facilities management. Tim. And you have 5 minutes.
Perfect.
Ben took all your time.
Yeah. Transitioning from Ben's presentation to mine, I am a Caledonia Township trustee and want to reiterate that the partnership is great between at least Caledonia and Kent County Parks. So we're really grateful for that and the service that they provide us. And also, one of the things that didn't come up in his presentation is they also plow most of our county parking lots, and they do a fantastic job at that too. So facilities is grateful for that. But I'm here to talk more about facilities overall. So thank you for the opportunity to present this morning. I'll try to be really brief. And this is kind of a snapshot of what your 30 facilities management employees achieve on a regular basis. This is a sampling of about 1.5 million square feet of administrative facilities that our team is responsible for. We've got little pictures of the health department at the Fuller campus, Veteran Services, 180 Ottawa Courthouse, Animal Shelter, Fallsburg Dam, the new Fleet Services building, and the new North County campus building, the Sheriff's North Substation, and the North Health Clinic. I'll just skip this. You guys know the presentation overview process. So our mission is to manage county facilities and projects, which striving for customer satisfaction and recognizing and meeting the needs of departments, providing a safe environment for employees and visitors, while maintaining fiscal responsibility in accordance with the policies and procedures of Kent County. Our experience is that happy employees that work in a good environment provide better customer service, and facilities tries to make sure that the environment that our employees work in and that our customers visit is as nice as it can be with the budgets that we have available. So this slide is facilities management. What do we do? The image on the lower left is just a pretty standard office building, and I'm sure you can't read it, but 15 different operations that are necessary to keep a building in balance, and temperatures right, and humidity right, and electricity on, and water flowing the way that it's supposed to. So lots of little things go into what we do every day. Some of the bigger things that our facilities team is achieving is renovating, repairing, and maintaining, constructing, and operating properties with an annual operations budget of approximately $15 million. We also provide technical and managerial support to those buildings and properties, manage major capital improvement projects. Over the last 3 years, we've averaged about $10 million in those newer, bigger projects. Annual budget work, tracking leases. We've been very busy with the new public defender lease in particular, and then 2 additional renovation projects. The Fuller Clinic, finding temporary space to relocate those health department teams, as well as the South Clinic, we were able to construct on site and keep those staff in a different place to work. But also the animal shelter, we're replacing flooring there. So we've got some short-term leases that we're working through to make sure that we can achieve those projects. And then while we do have 30 employees, that doesn't cover everything that our team achieves. We have a lot of vendors and contractors that help us, especially with cleaning. So holding them accountable, making sure that our buildings are clean the way we need them to be and the way the contracts read. And then lastly, managing downtown parking for staff. We have a lot of employees downtown, a lot of different lots, and making sure that as employees come and go, they've got the access that they need and can get to work on time. Strategic goals. I think I'll just skip through these and this for the sake of time. They're in your packet as well. Key performance metrics. I mentioned this before. The $30 million over the last 3 years. Our capital project services continue to grow year over year. So you can see the trend line there. And with hopefully a new administration building coming, there will probably be a big spike up in the next year or two as well. Key performance metrics. Safety, of course, is paramount in everything that we do. So it's a focus every day. We want to make sure that our staff and the people in the environments, again, we have a lot of partnerships with contractors. So anybody that we have a contract with, we want to make sure that they're safe as well. So taking care of our employees and our vendors. All right, significant accomplishments. We're partway through design of a new administration building. We replaced the chiller in the circuit courthouse, which was neat. We had to put a crane on the road and take a window out of the 12th floor and get that through. So that was fun construction. I mentioned the health department clinic renovations that the design is done. We're in the implementation phase now. There's been a lot of change in the facilities department. We've had 4 promotions, 4 external hires, and 5 staff transfers. So amongst 30 people, roughly a third of them are in a different seat than they were last year. Human services, we had a big parking lot replacement project down there and also put new underground detention in that facility. We had the state police lab demolition, the Fallisburg Dam study and analysis. We're getting ready to begin that construction work hopefully next month. And lastly, the big data center relocation from the IT building over to the courthouse. I just kind of mentioned some of the staff changes, so wanted you to see roughly what our org chart looks like. Certainly you won't be able to read names or titles there, but kind of in the middle, you'd see the 5 kind of at the top. Those are our building supervisors, and within each building, some of the supervisors have multiple buildings. If you're at the courthouse, the courthouse even has IT. But that just kind of shows how we're stacking staff and making sure that each location has the services that they need. Right above that kind of horizontal line in the middle is our operations manager, Mark Rao. He's a key communicator for us in the department, sending things upward and downward as we're getting new information every day and pivoting and making sure that we're taking care of each daily need. Moving forward to a look ahead. We're continuing to evaluate design alternatives for the administration building. I think no matter what path we end up taking forward, there's probably another 6 more months of design, best case scenario from today. So we've still got some work to do, but hopefully we can get a shovel in the ground at some point next summer. Finishing up those health department clinic renovations, that's anticipated to start in the next couple of weeks, and it's probably an 8 to 10 month project. So that's a $4 million project over at the health department. And then demolishing the hospital and the power plant. The power plant is from 1925. The oldest parts of the hospital are 1922. There will be significant hazardous material abatement before we can really start getting in there and hitting it with cranes and wrecking balls. The Fallisburg Dam improvements that I mentioned, construction should be over the winter. We're just kicking off the 63rd District's court space needs study next week with our consultant. So we'll be interested to see what the recommendations are that come out of that as we have a new judge that brings some additional staffing. And what we're hearing from the team is even though the building's only 15 years old, the amount of cases that they're hearing is significant and they're starting to run out of space. We hired a third party to help us put a roof asset management plan together. So we want to be a little bit more proactive than reactive in how we're managing these roofs. We can prioritize maintenance instead of replacement and save a lot of money. So we'll be bringing some recommendations forward in the next upcoming CIP to move that ahead. Getting the public defender into 250 Monroe. We've really flown through that since it was approved by the board. They're, God willing, everything should go as planned when everybody moves in on December 9th. IT and facilities have a lot of work to do in the next couple of weeks, but we have a good plan, and we're meeting with the landlord actually this afternoon to help with that transition. Demolishing the former Arbor Circle building, and we have some courthouse microphone replacements in the queue as well. 2 more slides. Challenges now and ahead. We continue to see supply chain challenges, especially with electrical switchgear, generators, and elevators. So that makes it difficult for us to deliver the projects in a shorter window that we want to do. But it just makes the planning of those projects that much more critical. Labor continues to be relatively strained. And then, especially as we look at a much larger project like the administration building, interest rates are a little bit higher than they have been in years past. So that's currently a challenge, but hopefully they continue to slowly trend downward as we might be more ready to achieve that project. And on behalf of all the facilities management team, I want to finish 10 seconds early.
You did good. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Burrow. Tim, thanks for being here today. You had mentioned about building the new admin building, and that would leave us with this building. Walking into the first floor this morning to stop and do something quick, what is the plan to repurpose that? I mean, the bottom's got the high ceilings, and there's, I don't want to say wasted space, but there's just so much space on that main floor that's just not used. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not going to hold you to anything, but, you know, what would be the strategy to repurpose that?
Yeah, we've done a high-level space needs analysis to show how the prosecuting team and probation teams can fit in this building. So we know that the space is available. As far as what those design elements look like, that's the future. We want to bring a design partner on board, and I don't really have a lot of detail or graphics that I can, share at this point in time, but we would definitely bring a partner on to make sure that we had the most efficient use of that space. And, this rehabilitated this building for hopefully the next 50 years. It's a key component downtown, and its proximity to the courthouse is really important to the services that we provide at the county.
Commissioner Diaz.
Sure. Thank you for being here. I've got a couple of questions, so I'll try to be quick. Are there any updates on the Calder Plaza plans, or have discussions began there?
Yeah, the city is leading the design on that project. There are concepts they're kind of through the schematic design phase of the project. They have an $11 million overall investment planned somewhere between 25 to 2027. I think that funding needs to be solidified a little bit more. But high level, I would say that the biggest changes that are proposed to the plaza are additional greening. They want to add green islands throughout it, but still have a balance, because there's a lot of events, of course, that have food trucks and tents and other things. But to try to, I guess, make that concrete softened some so that it's a little bit more welcoming. And also there's a new grand stairway entrance that's proposed on the Monroe side to have better access from the Monroe side so that you can get up to Calder Plaza, with a new elevator proposed as well, so that the public, the handicapped public, has access.
Yeah, thank you. I've spoken in the past about third spaces and how we're severely lacking in them. I don't know if you've ever been to places like Latin America or maybe Europe, where they have a bunch of third spaces, a bunch of plazas. They're used a lot more than this one is. And I think we've probably all been here in the summertime and have experienced that sun beaming down on us and that heat that is there. So I'm glad that the green space will be incorporated into that, because there's a lot of potential here, and increasing the use while also bringing down that heat a little bit, I think, will be very useful. At KCCA, they're constantly at the governing board meeting. They're constantly saying how they're struggling constantly with acquiring contractors, and I was curious to see if you've experienced the same thing, if there was similar struggles there.
I wouldn't say that we're struggling necessarily. It's just similar to the graph of how the capital expenses have increased for the department, I would say the costs on average for projects are kind of almost increasing at the same pace. With the demand for contractors being so high, it's not that there aren't enough, it's just that everything costs a little bit more and the schedules are tighter. So I think a lot of them are working overtime. We're still getting, going back to the fiscal presentation, I think, we always get at least 2, but a lot of projects will get 8 or 9, 10 bids sometimes. So
Okay.
we're seeing good interest.
Thank you. And then finally, similar question to what I asked Ben. Have there been conversations around sustainability and energy production, solar panels when it comes to any or all of these projects?
Yeah, so I've started entering all of our buildings into the Energy Star software that the federal government provides to better understand, which buildings are performing well, where do we want to spend our time and energy, and make sure that we are being as energy efficient as possible and kind of lowering that bottom line bill so that we can reinvest those funds into other things that actually provide services to our residents.
Yeah. Well, again, it was a pleasure to work with you the last 2 years. I'm looking forward to seeing how some of these projects develop from the resident side, and especially the building that we're going to be selling soon. I think there's a lot of potential in that building also. So, again, thank you.
Commissioner Pacla.
Thank you, Chair. Tim, great to see you. Thanks for being here with this presentation. Jumping off of Commissioner Diaz's question about sustainability, and I'm curious in general if there are conversations around the installation of solar panels on facilities. I live in East Grand Rapids, and they just got done finishing an installation of solar panels on the community center, the public safety building, and their DPW building. They did it by advertising through the county purchasing system in order to get a company that would actually install those panels at no capital cost to the city through a power purchasing agreement. So, I think the county is really well positioned from a scale perspective to be thinking about that, not just from our county buildings, but also in partnership for other municipalities. So are there any conversations, or might that be something in the future that you'd look at?
Yeah, I meet with leadership at Consumers quarterly, and that's something that we talk about really every meeting. So they have large fields that we can buy into that they've built. So that's kind of the easy no construct option. And then as part of the administration building project, part of the scope of Fishbeck and their sub-consultant is to analyze, what environmental efficiencies can we achieve on the campus, and is that solar on the building, is that solar parking structures and parts of the parking lot, is that geothermal? And so I just said all things because I can admit I don't know everything, and I've got some really smart consultants that know more, so I didn't want to limit that, and that's part of what they're looking into.
Great, thank you so much.
Commissioner Boujat.
Thank you, Chair. Tim, thank you for being here, and I appreciate your opening comments and showing support for the Kent County Parks and what you do as a trustee at Caledonia Township. Truly an amazing partnership between Caledonia Township and Kent County. And District 21, of which I am the commissioner, truly benefits from that relationship. As far as facilities go, we don't often think of facilities as managing a dam. And you mentioned that we're in the process of doing some kind of civil engineering work there. Can you expand on that a little bit more about exactly what we're doing?
Yes, so the dam is over 120 years old and has had maintenance along the way, but it's certainly showing its age. The main things that we're achieving immediately are driving some additional steel sheet piling on the upstream side of the dam to provide additional strength to the embankment. We're going to analyze that for probably 3 to 4 months after that sheet piling is driven. We may still need to add some additional dirt along the embankment for further strengthening. And then additionally, the concrete spillway is, again, showing signs of age, as well as the gates. So we're on design right now to hopefully put that out to bid in maybe March or April for a next summer fall construction. So it's kind of 2 phases of different projects. It's approximately a 30-foot drop from the pond up above to the river down below. So there's quite a bit of head up against that dam.
I'd like to have an opportunity to go out there and see that construction as it's being done, and just kind of get a better idea, visually of what's going on. And also, at one time I approached you and asked you for information regarding all the buildings in the county that you're managing. You sent me a comprehensive list, and my goal was to, at some point, visit every single building in the county, and I've fallen short on that. I'm working on that as a goal for 2025 also, to finish, actually going to every county building. There's quite a few. Thank you.
Yeah, we'd be glad to have a supervisor give you a guided tour as well. So glad to coordinate.
Don't want to rush commissioners. However, several of us do have a 9:55 interview meetings for appointments. So, any other comments or questions, Commissioner LeGrand?
Very quickly, what's the new timeline on the administration building? I know that we're back to the drawing board, literally,
Yeah,
for design.
I would say that we're kind of at a pause right now, evaluating the different options. I hope to have, pretty clear direction which way the board wants to go, maybe in January, so that we can move forward relatively rapidly from that point. But I think the most important thing is that we have alignment and, everyone agrees, and let's have those difficult conversations so that when we do go forward, we can keep going forward. So.
Thank you.
All right. Any other commissioners, comments, questions? All right, Tim, thank you so much. Again, a lot of square footage to cover throughout the county, and a great job, and your team does a fabulous job. So thank you very much.
Sure.
All right, next item on our agenda is Commissioner Miscellaneous. Do we have any Commissioner Miscellaneous? Commissioner Diaz.
Thank you, Chair. As you all have seen, I have put a resolution.
I'm sorry. Hang on. I went in my speed to try to get this done. We do have one action item that needs to go to full board on 12/5, brought to us by the Human Resources Department. Do I have a motion and support, please? Motion by Pakla, supported by Hennessy. Do we have comments, questions, or concerns regarding this item? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say yes. Yes. All those opposed, that will go to full board on 12/5. And Amy's probably happy that a couple of you brought that to my attention. Next item on our agenda, Commissioner Miscellaneous. Do I have any Commissioner Miscellaneous? Commissioner Diaz.
Thank you, Chair. In the interest of time, I won't be reading this resolution that I have in front of you all. But I would like to make a motion to send this resolution to the full board so that the full board can consider it. I understand that this resolution is against Standing Rule 3.10, and so I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules if that's the correct procedure to send it to the full board.
All right, I will rule that motion out of order, citing Rule 1.2. Meeting agendas must be distributed prior to call to order. Requests to add items to a standing committee agenda should be directed to the chair of the standing committee and shall be subject to the discretion of the chair. And again, I do agree with you on 3.10 as well. So the ruling of the chair, that I would rule that out of order.
Thank you. Respectfully, I'd like to make a motion to, appeal the ruling of the chair.
All right, we have a motion to appeal the ruling of the chair. Do we have support? All right, seeing no support, that dies for lack of support.
Thank you. And then, if I may, very brief comments, Chair. As I've said it during this meeting, this will be my last LHR meeting. I wanted to say that it was a privilege and honor to work with you all during the past 2 years. I will save my longer comments for our last board meeting, or at least my last board meeting on December 5th. But for now, I would just like to say that I would like my colleagues to remember that we do, in fact, have much more in common than we have in differences. And I think the evidence of that is that during the last 2 years, the number of unanimous votes on the full board were plentiful. The number of votes where at least I was the only no vote were very, very small. And so as the work that you all do, at least those of you who will be, at least the commissioners that will be on the board, move forward with that work, please remember as you do that work that the people of Kent County are looking to us for leadership. there is a severe lack of leadership across the entire country, and we are going into some very difficult times ahead. There are a lot of challenges facing the entire country, facing our state and facing our county and the cities within the county. Y por último, me gustaría darle las gracias a mis padres, a mis abuelos, a mis primos y primas. Sin el esfuerzo y los sacrificios que ustedes hicieron, no pudiera estar aquí hoy. Le doy las gracias a mi chaparrita de ojos negros. Ha sido un gusto conocerte estos últimos días y espero que nos podamos ir conociendo. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Diaz. Any other commissioner miscellaneous? Commissioner Bujak.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be brief. Just wanted to wish everyone happy Thanksgiving and hope you all enjoy your family gatherings.
All right, any other commissioner miscellaneous? Seeing none, meeting is adjourned.